some profitable projects that we've done. This was our site in Benwell. I mean, it looks, they have more pigeons resident here than anything else, but this was a bit of an unusual project. This was put forward by an associate of ours called Mike Kenny, who I would actually say is actually a very, very successful associate of ours. And the reason for that is the fact that Mike is very diligent in what he does. He's never easily put off, and he will really stay the course. So he put this project together, and I looked at it immediately and I thought, oh my God, you know, well, I mean, what's the problem? I can't even remember it wasn't like a listed building, but there was some restriction against it anyway. Well, Mike had literally sorted all of this out with the council anyway. He went to see them, discussed it. He's a very personable Irishman, and we put together a project with the owner of it, a guy called Jim Gaffney. He's a very nice chap, and we had agreed to buy this. I think it was for about £150,000. Yeah, here it is, and this is actually the finished product here, where the developers that we sold it to actually developed it into apartments. So we secured it for 150,000. I think we sold it for about 317, something like that. I can't remember. It was an old warehouse. But again, if you're looking at commercial properties, you must make sure that the properties will be suitable for residential development. That's most important. Find them out with the council first of all. And there are some areas in the north where a lot of the old warehouses are very popular for turning into apartments, etc. as well. This is a great project. This is the one that we've got the option for here anyway. I would always say, if you're looking at a site like this, be very, very careful, because first of all, as you can see, this is actually a very small town, but this is an area of land that was actually designated for development, the local council. But we knew it was going to be a fairly long battle. One of our associates put it forward anyway. It's a very decent project, and she's a very, very nice lady that put it forward. We identified it anyway, and she was responsible for discussing the whole thing with the owner. She again went to see the owner, chatted with them, got to know the family quite well, and we did a very, very nice deal with them here. We actually ended up selling it to a company based in Cardiff. Is it Cardiff? Yeah, I think it is Cardiff anyway. But it was a very decent project. However, we got involved with a national developer, first of all, who I won't mention here, who literally tried to hoodwink us a little bit about what they wanted to do with it. They wanted to buy half of it first of all. They could put their products on the front of it, and then they wanted to have like show homes, etc. there and the rest of it. But they didn't want to buy the back half for the moment anyway. But what we then found out, just doing a little bit of digging, etc. anyway, was the fact that this company would always rely on selling something before they then bought something else. They weren't very well financed, should we say, and so we thought, well, hold on a minute, we know what's going to happen here. They're going to buy the first half, and they wanted all of the clauses in the contract, etc., to say that, you know, we will buy the second half at such and such a period if blah 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 blah. And of course what they could have done was to buy the half of the side, and then wait for our option to expire on the second part of it anyway, and where we would have either had to have gone back to negotiate and all the rest of it. And they then could literally have approached the owner direct and said, we'll buy this from you for X amount. We've put the first bid in anyway. We had no doubt. Well, they wanted to get planning on all of it anyway, but only wanted to buy half it, you know. So anyway, it was all a bit of a pig's ear really. So we said no, we're not going to do that. And anyway, it then turned out that we had other pals who had bought some other stuff off us anyway, and they said, well, let's have a look at it. We'll look at it. And because there was a new race course being built at Pembury, just up the road from here, they thought, you know, we'll take a punt on it anyway. They actually bought it from us for £210,000, and bearing in mind that is all profit. There's no real expenses in that as well. We only secured that for £1 anyway. They hadn't got planning. They got planning on it, and they then sold it on to another developer. So, you know, everybody's making a margin on it, you know, and it worked very well, you know. So that was a pretty decent project, you know. But these things are not difficult to find if you have got your ear to the ground. You know what's going on in your area anyway. These things really aren't that. I mean, I'm not saying something for that sort of side. You know, usually I would have looked at that on the map and I'd have said, "Poor blimey." You know, you're looking at 125 houses on there. There's no local infrastructure. You know, there's no, I mean, where are all the, you know, doctors, surgeons, whatever, they're going to be, you know, they're going to have all sorts of different problems anyway. But it just worked very, very well because it had been designated for development. So it was this one that we did. It was a field of 8¼ acres, which is, you know, pretty big, really, pretty big. But I mean, I would say that we are actually looking at a massive site of about 60 acres that we're looking to develop at the moment. But I mean, this is actually quite big for this anyway. It hadn't actually got outlined for 125 units, but it had got, the council had said that 125 units was acceptable for it anyway. The site was to be purchased for 2.1 million, but we sold it to a developer beforehand for £210,000 profit, so they didn't get the planning on it, but then they got it afterwards anyway. So it worked out very, very nicely. All the projects that you've seen here were found using the information that you have in your book. We now exclusively use online research techniques. So every site that we put forward would be, we've sourced the whole thing online completely. It's far quicker because you can literally do it from your armchair in front of your PC and work an hour a day. Far quicker, it's far easier as well. You know, you don't actually have to visit sites, and we can show you sort of like the tools that that we would use. And there's multiple websites. You can find out all of this information anyway. You can identify multiple sites in the same location, really, without leaving your computer. But the beauty of that is the fact that every single one of those sites is a template site. So you're actually looking at something which has been successful, and you're putting it somewhere else, but you're doing it actually all online. And all of the associates now who join us have to be trained in the online techniques. It's as simple as that, because the most important thing, you know, we're all lacking in time. We don't have an awful lot of time. If we are supporting our associates anyway, we need them to be absolutely up to date with every single thing they put forward. What we don't want to be doing is looking at sites which we believe are going to be unprofitable simply because the associate hasn't actually ticked all the boxes. And you would be surprised at the amount of people that you can give somebody a set of instructions as what to do, and they won't follow through, or they'll miss out a very, very important component. And the usual one is the fact that, is it an area that can be developed? And they could actually find out literally from the planning policies that it's going to be a restriction because it's in an employment area, and employment or something along those lines is very, very fiercely protected in any environment, because employment is the lifeblood of any area. As simple as that. I mean, it's absolutely vital. So, you know, if we've got associates who are all looking at the same types of projects anyway, it's far easier and will be far more successful. In answer to your question, out of 10 sites that you put forward, you may find that 1 or 2 would be of interest. You may find, I mean, our chap Kevin up in Norwich, or Norfolk should I say, has put 5 sites together. Every single one of them, the owners have said yes, we're very interested. Maybe also a sign of the times now. But we've also got developers who will buy them. And that is, you know, you've got a key. You've got people that want to sell, developers that want to buy. Well, usually developers will want to buy. Not everybody wants to sell. So it is going to be a numbers game. I'm not going to lie to you and say that every single one of your projects is going to come off, because it won't. But if one project comes out of 10, if one project comes out of 20, and looking at online techniques, you could put 20 sites together literally in a week. What's the chance of them coming off? The beauty also is the fact that I believe that using this method, which is a new method, that people will be far, far more profitable and be far quicker as well. And you can really work 1 hour a day. I have an associate who puts together a site, and he literally just finds sites for developers, makes a small margin on them, works 1 hour a day, takes 70,000 a year, and that's literally all he does. Absolutely doesn't do any other work at all. So, you know, it's profitable. It's profitable stuff.